The world holds its breath during major geopolitical events. The war in Ukraine, the crisis in Gaza, the rise of China as a superpower, and even Donald Trump's territorial threats towards Greenland and Panama dominate the headlines. But while the cameras remain fixed on these conflicts, a geopolitical earthquake is unfolding in Africa that receives barely any attention. A conflict that could cost millions of lives and change the region forever. Rwanda, a small country covering just 63% of the Netherlands' size, is engaged in a quiet yet highly effective invasion of its giant neighbor, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. At first glance, it seems utterly absurd. Rwanda has a population of 14 million, while the DRC has nearly 100 million. It's a country 89 times larger than its attacker. This is like the province of Utrecht trying to invade Germany. And yet Rwanda is surprisingly successful. According to a UN report, at least 4,000 Rwandan soldiers crossed the border between January 2024 and January 2025 to support a shadowy rebel movement, M23. But there's something strange about this group. M23 claims to be a Congolese resistance movement, a militia fighting for the rights of an oppressed minority. In reality, it's nothing less than a puppet army of Rwanda, fully funded, trained, and armed by the Rwandan government. The United Nations, the United States, and independent researchers all confirm the same. Rwanda is playing a dangerous game in Congo. Then, on January 21st, 2025, the unthinkable happens. While the world is distracted by Ukraine and Gaza, M23 advances towards Goma, the largest and most strategic city in Eastern Congo. With a population of over 1 million people, it's an indispensable link in the region. It's the gateway to the country's richest mines and a crucial trade hub. The attack moves at lightning speed. Within a week, on January 28th, 2025, Goma falls. Rwanda takes control without anyone stopping them. The consequences are disastrous. In just a few days, at least 3,000 people are killed. Over 700,000 people flee, desperately seeking safety in a country where stability is a rare commodity. The world watches, or rather looks away. Think back to Hamas's attack on Israel on October 7th, 2024, which resulted in a similar number of deaths. That event shocked the world, triggering military retaliation, billions in support, and worldwide protests. But the fall of Goma? Barely a mention in Western media. And while the international community focuses on Russian troops in Ukraine, Rwanda continues its invasion, unhindered and without consequences. But why? Why is Rwanda invading its gigantic neighbor? Rwanda's President Paul Kagame claims it's about security. According to him, rebels from the DRC threaten his country's stability, and Rwanda must defend itself. But this is nothing more than a smokescreen. The real reason is far less noble. This conflict is not about security. It's about money, power, and natural resources. The Democratic Republic of the Congo is one of the richest countries in the world when it comes to raw materials: gold, tin, diamonds, and perhaps most importantly, coltan. This rare mineral is essential for the production of smartphones, laptops, and batteries. Without coltan, companies like Apple, Samsung, and Tesla would face major problems. And here's where it gets bizarre. Although the DRC has the largest coltan reserves in the world, Rwanda is now a bigger exporter than Congo itself. How is that possible? How can a small country with barely any natural reserves suddenly become a global player in coltan? The answer is simple. Rwanda is stealing it. M23 is smuggling coltan, gold, and other minerals from the DRC to Rwanda on a massive scale. There they are processed and exported as if they originated in Rwanda itself. Western companies buy them without asking questions, and the profits flow straight to Kigali. While Rwanda grows rich, the DRC is being plundered. Estimates suggest that Congo loses billions of dollars each year due to this illegal trade. But why does no one intervene? Why doesn't the international community impose sanctions? Normally, a country invading its neighbor would face severe penalties. Russia was economically crippled after annexing Crimea in 2014. Iran is repeatedly sanctioned for its military operations in the Middle East. But Rwanda seems untouchable. This is because Rwanda has cleverly made itself indispensable. Western countries need Rwanda. France relies on the Rwandan army to combat Islamist extremists in Mozambique. The EU has signed new trade agreements with Rwanda, even for minerals coming from Congo. And the UN depends on Rwandan troops for peacekeeping missions in Africa. In return, Kagame is given free rein in Congo. The West sees what is happening but chooses to look the other way. And while the world remains distracted by other conflicts, Rwandan troops continue their advance. M23 has captured Goma, but they have no intention of stopping there. The rebels have already announced their plans to push toward Bukavu, the capital of South Kivu. And some within the movement are even whispering about a march on Kinshasa, the Congolese capital. If that happens, there's a serious risk of the entire Central African region going up in flames. President Felix Tshisekedi of the DRC has already made it clear that he considers this an act of war. He has compared Paul Kagame to Adolf Hitler and is plotting revenge. History teaches us that these are not empty threats. The last time Rwanda was involved in a large-scale war in Congo, the Second Congo War broke out, the deadliest war since World War II. Between 1998 and 2003, between 3 and 5 million people died. And if this war escalates, the death toll could once again reach into the millions. And as the world watches, Rwanda continues what may be the greatest plunder of the 21st century. The question is not whether this conflict will escalate. The fall of Goma was just the beginning, a city of over 1 million people captured in just a few days. Tens of thousands dead, hundreds of thousands fleeing, and an international community that watches and does nothing. But as the smoke still lingers over the city, the M23 rebels and their Rwandan allies already have their sights set on the next prize. Bukavu, the capital of South Kivu. Bukavu is a city of nearly 1 million people, located on the shores of the massive Lake Kivu. Like Goma, it is an economic and strategic hub. If Bukavu falls, it would mean that all of Eastern Congo effectively comes under Rwandan control. And even more concerning, this war could spread like wildfire across Central Africa. The question is, what will the DRC do about it? President Felix Tshisekedi has already declared that he sees this as a direct act of war, but the problem is that the Congolese armed forces, the FARDC, are fragmented, corrupt, and poorly equipped. Congo is one of the richest countries in the world in terms of resources, yet paradoxically, it is one of the poorest nations on earth. The army is notorious for its chaos, internal divisions, and lack of resources. That's why Kinshasa is looking for allies, and this is where things get interesting. The first major player to get actively involved is Burundi. This small country just south of Rwanda has deep ethnic and historical ties to the conflict. Burundi's government is led by Hutus, and they fear that Kagame's Rwanda has plans to overthrow them too. The Burundians do not trust Kagame at all, and they have already deployed their own troops to the DRC to fight against M23. But the real danger lies with Uganda. Uganda is a country with a complex relationship with both Rwanda and Congo. President Yoweri Museveni, who has been in power since 1986, has a long history of both cooperation and rivalry with Kagame. In the 1990s, Rwandan and Ugandan troops even fought each other on Congolese soil, resulting in bloody battles between former allies. But now Uganda, at least for the time being, is cooperating with Rwanda in Eastern Congo. However, this could change quickly. Uganda's politics are unstable, and Museveni's son, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, has previously made threatening remarks about Rwanda and neighboring countries like Kenya. If Museveni were to die or be overthrown, Uganda's policy could suddenly shift radically and turn against Rwanda. And then there's South Africa. South Africa has historically maintained close ties with the DRC and provides military support to the Congolese army. If the crisis escalates further, South Africa could decide to deploy troops to the DRC. And if that happens, this war will become an international conflict. The West knows that Rwanda is the headquarters of illegal mineral smuggling. But here's the big problem. They need Rwanda. The French government uses Rwandan soldiers to protect its gas interests in Mozambique from Islamist rebels. The EU has signed new trade deals with Rwanda, even for the minerals that Rwanda is stealing from Congo. In fact, the United States has quietly become dependent on Rwandan coltan for its tech companies. The irony is almost painful. The West has sanctioned Russia for its invasion of Ukraine, but when it comes to Rwanda, complete silence. But this is a dangerous game, because while Western countries choose to look away, the anger in Congo is growing. After the fall of Goma, massive anti-Western protests erupted in Kinshasa. Tens of thousands of Congolese took to the streets and stormed the embassies of the US, France, and Belgium. They shouted slogans like, "Down with the West," "You are stealing our land," "Stop the plundering of Congo." For many Congolese, Rwanda's invasion is not just an attack by Kigali, but by the entire Western world. They see the smuggling of minerals and the political support for Kagame as clear proof that their country is being systematically looted by foreign powers. And if history has taught us anything, it's that when the anger of the Congolese people boils over, the consequences can be enormous. This conflict is starting to resemble the First and Second Congo Wars, which claimed millions of lives between 1996 and 2003. If Rwanda continues its advance and the DRC mobilizes allies like South Africa and Angola, this war could become the largest military crisis in Africa in decades. And then comes the ultimate question. What will Kagame do when the pressure really mounts? Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, is often called the Vladimir Putin of Africa. He is a ruthless strategist, a man who tolerates no opposition and no dissent. His government has assassinated political opponents in exile, and press freedom barely exists in Rwanda. If Rwanda comes under pressure, Kagame faces two options: push forward and try to take control of a large part of Eastern Congo, retreat and let M23 wither away, as he did in 2013. But option 2 is risky, because in 2013, the last time Rwanda abandoned M23, there was immense international pressure from the US, the EU, and the UN. Rwanda was forced to withdraw as Western countries threatened sanctions and cuts to financial aid. Now, the situation is different. Rwanda has made itself indispensable to the West. And that means Kagame can go much further than he could 10 years ago. Rwanda has captured Goma. Bukavu is the next target. If Bukavu falls, nearly all of Eastern Congo will effectively become a Rwandan colony. The Congolese army